141. Jiang Misha. Hello, hello, hello. Attention all passengers. The train is about to warp. The train is about to warp. Please sit tight and hold on. Pom pom. Warping will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Astral Express shuddered once and slipped into the Asdana star system. But unlike previous stops at Belobog or Xianzhou Lufu, something about this arrival left Miss Eno with a strange, pervasive unease. Alicia felt it too, a subtle wrongness that ran beneath everything. Is it the memories tied to the Asdana system? Miss Eno muttered. Too bad I can't open the train doors to go investigate. Then she noticed Star. The Constellation Girl looked off, her thoughts clouded, her movements slowed. From Star's earpiece came a flat, uncanny voice. The family is the source of Penacony's tragedy. Star, passenger, are you all right? Someone asked. I feel very confused, Star replied after a pause. I'm getting better now. That's good to hear. Be careful. Arriving here can stir things up. Your resistance to memory influence seems weak. Remember, dreams and reality are opposites. While you were asleep, the train has already reached Penacony. The old frontier prison has been remodeled into a luxurious hotel. I, the conductor, am curious too, but I can't get off the train, so you must explore enough for both of us. Look, the other passengers are ready, luggage packed, good to disembark, pom-pom. Star forced a smile at the concerned looks from the others and insisted she was fine. She disembarked with the rest of the group, everyone except Dan Heng. No sooner had they set foot on the platform than several burly men approached. March 7th instinctively stepped back. Distinguished guests, please don't alarm yourselves. We are members of the Hound family, responsible for outer security. Please comply with regulations and allow us to inspect your luggage. They inspected every bag, opened, checked, folded neatly back, repeating the process until it felt endless. Only after no fewer than 10 inspections did the party finally get through and head toward the Daydream Hotel. By then, March 7th was numb. Miss Eno was right to travel light, she muttered. Thank goodness for that. With this many checks, I was half afraid family members would pry into the Stellaron. Don't worry, the Stellaron is stable, someone reassured her. Sighing, March 7th brightened at the hotel's vast lobby. All that fuss was worth it. This place is huge. How many rooms do they have? I wonder which one's ours. Come on, let's go to the front desk. Uncle Yang and the others must already be in line. A blue-haired bellboy materialized as if from nowhere. Welcome to the Daydream Hotel. May you enjoy an unforgettable vacation. For check-in, please proceed to the front desk. If you need luggage carried to your room, ask for me. March 7th and Star chatted eagerly with the bellboy, Misha, while Miss Eno's eyes narrowed. Everyone else around them acted as though Misha was visible, but something was off. Some people seemed never to notice him. Curiosity made Miss Eno pull out her path component scanner, aim it at Misha, and fire. K32. Why's the reading fluctuating? She murmured, but even the changes confirmed something. Memory path energy was a major component of Misha. Then the scanner blinked again. What? He also has the Trailblaze path energy? Before she could sort that out, a commotion broke out at the front desk. A crowd had gathered, voices raised at the delay. March 7th craned forward and saw Himeko stuck at the head of the line. Is Himeko having trouble? Misha, I'll talk to you later. I wish you a pleasant holiday in Penacony, Misha called as Star and March 7th sprinted toward the desk. He turned to Miss Eno with a puzzled look. Aren't you going with your companions? He asked. Misha, Miss Eno said quietly, do you know you're a mimetic life form? Misha's confusion deepened. I'm sorry, I don't understand what you mean. Then tell me, how is your name written? She asked. He stepped forward and wrote Misha on her palm. Seizing the chance, Miss Eno probed him, dipping briefly into his mind. The impressions she pulled were disordered and fragmentary. His memories were a tangle. It was clear he knew very little about himself. Other guests need help. Please excuse me, Misha said and left to attend to them. Nearby, someone cried out, Why is my suitcase moving by itself? Another guest stammered, It's like it's been handled. Even from the few details she'd gathered, Miss Eno saw a connection. Among the 3 nameless ones Pom-Pom had asked them to find, one was named Mikhail. Misha could be a diminutive of that name. The nickname fit. By the front desk, Himeko was arguing with a blond man. I've been waiting over 10 minutes. Do you know how much credit points 10 minutes is worth to me? The blonde softened when he spotted Miss Eno. Isn't this Miss Eno? Too bad we missed each other in Pierpoint earlier. I'm Topaz, strategic investment, diamonds distressed asset liquidation expert. So you're Topaz. I've heard Topaz and Genju mentioned you, Miss Eno replied. Honor's mine, but now's not the time for introductions, Topaz said with a faint smile. Miss Eno looked at Himeko and then to Eiley, the front desk clerk. When we replied to the family, Star hadn't boarded the train yet, so she wasn't in the system. Can't you just transfer Dan Heng's room to her? Himeko demanded. Eiley looked flustered, tapping the screen. Topaz offered, please don't make this difficult. The Daydream Hotel's system probably doesn't allow arbitrary transfers. It's not being stubborn, it follows procedures strictly, so clerks don't lose pay for violating rules. So if the system has the right operation, you can change Star's room? Miss Eno asked. Yes, Topaz confirmed. Then check again, she said. Eiley frowned at the console. For a moment, nothing happened, and then, inexplicably, a new service option appeared on her display. I'll process it for you right away, she said, surprised. 142, those young people chasing their dreams. After the registration was completed, Topaz glanced at Miss Eno with a hint of surprise before quickly composing himself. As expected of Miss Eno, you can untangle things in an instant. With a genius turning into a nameless, I imagine the trailblaze will go even more smoothly. That's true. Eno has helped us a great deal already, March 7th replied. Welt and Himeko both noticed that Topaz had deliberately stressed the phrase, the trailblaze. When Topaz finished checking in, March 7th immediately picked up his camera and took a photo in the Daydream Hotel lobby. Himeko stepped forward. Mr. Topaz, may I speak with you for a moment, privately? Topaz motioned for her to come aside. Himeko moved a few steps away, while Eno and Welt lingered nearby, listening and watching the lobby. I was hoping to use this opportunity to put in a good word for that gray-haired Nameless under my name, Himeko said in a low voice. But since we can't maximize the benefits here, I'll have to go with a second-best plan. In my family's territory, nothing is more valuable than friends, let alone a straightforward trailblaze like a Nameless. As fellow invitees of the Watchmaker, I think we'll get many chances to cooperate in the future. Star glided over to Topaz's side and said confidently, if you want cooperation, pay up first. Topaz chuckled. I admire your bluntness. Indeed, if you don't know what the other can do, how do you know whether cooperation is worth it? Star's phone buzzed. She checked it and blinked at Topaz. The screen read, credited 1,000 credit points. As if to say, you actually paid? Topaz smiled casually. I have something I must attend to. I'll take my leave for now. I'm sure we'll meet again soon. He had barely stepped away when a man and a woman entered the lobby. Eno watched as the lobby staff immediately treated them with more respect when they saw them, especially the man, an aeon of finality. She sifted through the information in her head and confirmed their identities. Sunday, head of the Oak family, and his sister, the famously beloved singer Robin. Everyone from the Astral Express, if you please, come this way and rest for a moment. Sunday's voice was warm, commanding. March 7th, having finished his photo, stared at Robin and then brightened. Excuse me, are you the singer? The superstar from Epsilon? Make a heart free from sorrow. That's your song, isn't it? Robin smiled with graceful poise. I'm delighted a lovely young lady like you is a fan. It really is, Robin. I can't believe I'm meeting her in person. It's my honor to meet all of you as well. I'm just a guest like you. Penacony is my hometown, but I left after I grew up. I'm fortunate to have been invited back to sing at the grand concert this time. This is my brother Sunday, she added. He's one of the local decision-makers in Penacony and the organizer of the grand concert. He heard you'd had trouble arriving, so he brought me to offer our help. I'm sorry we were a bit late. That must have made checking in unpleasant. Sunday turned to Himeko. As a token of our sincerity, I'll upgrade your room type as compensation. The hotel will assign suitable rooms right away. Welt hesitated. Is it proper to upgrade rooms only for us? I believe several other invited factions are staying here. Please rest assured, Sunday replied. The family will take care of the communications. As the actual administrators on the ground, we should resolve any difficulties you encounter while visiting Penacony. He then bowed to Eno. Miss Ino, it's an honor to have you here. We'll add you to the family's permanent VIP list and arrange a room for you. Mr. Topaz has an appointment with the Oak family, so I'll excuse myself now. If you need anything while in Penacony, the family is at your service. Enjoy your stay, and may your dreams be splendid. After Sunday and Robin left, Ino briefed the others about Misha's situation and her own theories. A bellboy only Nameless can see. Penacony really does have a lot of strange corners. Coincidentally, I have some information to share too. Under Sunday's instructions, everyone's room numbers were quickly assigned. The group rode the elevator up to the guest lounge. Himeko glanced ahead. This corridor leads to the guest rooms. We can talk as we walk. Welt, do you remember the invitation the train received? There was extra content after the main text. Welt nodded. The family's invitation came as a music box. Winding it played a tune, except the one delivered to us had odd, discordant notes mixed into the melody. I transcribed those noises, Himeko continued, and they matched the gravitational wave frequency of the train's warp jumps. Using the train engine's spatial curvature as a key, I decoded a message. She recited carefully, "Witness the impossible in dreams. Find the legacy of Penacony's father, the watchmaker. Then answer, why does life slumber?" It sounds like a common Nameless distress signal, Welt said, but we can't rule out the masked fool messing with us. The Riddlers or the Abominable could do this too. If the watchmaker really is linked to the Nameless, Misha would be an excellent place to start in suspicious Penacony, Himeko added. Topaz said the company's invitation had similar encrypted text, and it was decoded too. We'll probably have to deal with the company's envoys next. They reached the guest room corridor. Many questions remain unanswered, Himeko said. Until we confirm more facts, we can't act rashly. For now, let's follow the conductor's request, gather intelligence, and enjoy the vacation as best we can. Penacony is a famous cosmic resort. Many people never get the chance to visit. Himeko's words made Ino bite back the next thought she'd intended to voice. Elio's prophecies show no sign of coming true yet. Until I have evidence, I shouldn't upset everyone's heads with my theories. Himeko signaled that they should return to their rooms quickly to prepare for dreaming. March 7th dashed off first, with Star close behind. Ino's room wasn't on the same floor, so she parted from the group. The hotel was larger than she'd imagined. After wandering the maze of corridors for a while, she finally found her door. Just then, a strangely familiar voice came from behind her. "Excuse me, could you tell me how to get back to the lobby? The halls here all look the same." Ino turned instinctively. Chapter 143, Big Surprise. When Ino saw the portrait of Hua, she had thought she'd prepared herself. But the face standing before her, 90% identical to Raiden Mei, brought a rush of bad memories crashing back. She stared at the katana in the woman's hand and, inexplicably, felt certain it would be drawn and strike her in the next instant. Her legs went weak. She had to lean on the doorknob to keep from collapsing. "Alicia, you do it." Sudden encounters like this, I need a moment," she stammered. Alicia rubbed Ino's head and took over. "Excuse me," she said to the newcomer. "Walk straight to the end, turn left, keep walking, then turn right at the third intersection. You'll see an open space. Go down the stairs," Alicia instructed, her voice calm. "Although I can't remember it, thank you anyway," the woman replied. "By the way, can you tell me your name?" Alicia asked. "Sea Ranger, that's what they call me." She answered. "That's an interesting introduction. Since you can't remember, would you like me to accompany you to the hotel lobby?" "No need. My question was abrupt, sorry." Home turned and left. "Oh dear," Alicia said, turning back to Ino with a wry smile. "Miss Home did give you quite a scare, but I don't think your reaction was only because she looks like May, right?" "How to explain it?" Ino exhaled. "It was like my brain was running 100 processes at once, juggling important things, and someone just appeared behind me without me noticing. And she looks almost exactly like someone who wants to kill me." "In the end, you were just caught off guard," Alicia said. "If one part of your attention had been reserved to observe the surroundings, you wouldn't have been so flustered. We'll probably meet again once we enter the dream. I hope I'll do better." Ino's tone grew serious. "My situation with Raiden Mei isn't like Dan Heng's with Blade. From what I gathered in Luofu, whether Dan Heng must be held responsible for the Dan Heng Imbibitor Lunae incident, and to what extent, is still debated. But whatever happened back then, I should be the one to change it. Alicia shifted the topic. What major discoveries have you made since arriving in Penacony? There aren't really major discoveries, more like inferences and conjectures, replied. Maybe I'm being oversensitive, but when I saw the Asdana star system filled with memories, I thought memories must be one of the indispensable raw materials Ruanmei uses to cultivate the swarm, especially the worm. While waiting in line for luggage check, March 7th told me about the train's encounter on the car wash planet, which proves there are individuals in the swarm capable of creating illusions. If someone became an emissary of the propagation, they could probably infiltrate Penacony the way Fantelia infiltrated Luofu. I hope I'm just worrying too much. You've told me the bad news. What's the good? Alicia asked. If it can be done, I want to give you a surprise, Ino said. All right, then I'll be eagerly waiting, Alicia teased. Ino pushed open the door. The most striking feature of the room was the spacious dream pool. As she approached, a sweet female voice emanated from everywhere, and a fragrant, luxurious scent filled the air, crisp like ripe fruit and deep like a distant sea at sunset. Welcome to Penacony, esteemed guest. Soon, all your ideals will appear before your eyes. Step into the dream pool. Forget the sorrows and worries of life. Close your eyes. Let pleasant memories flood your mind. Rebirth, beautiful dreams, eternal. Soon, the boundary between reality and the dream realm will dissolve. The moment Ino stepped into the pool, a peculiar sensation washed through her body and then shifted into the exhilaration of a long-cherished hope about to come true. Alicia, I'm certain the surprise can happen now, she whispered. Like the other guests, Ino lay back in the dream pool and closed her eyes. For an instant, the pool flickered like a broken machine, filling with countless black rectangular erosion patterns. Before anyone could react, the patterns vanished without a trace. When Ino opened her eyes, there were tall buildings, a nearby statue, and the hum of many voices, but none of that mattered. Oh my goodness, Ino, this is a huge surprise, Alicia cried. Ino turned. Alicia stood behind her, looking at her own hands with wonder. Here she appeared as a fully independent individual, capable of free movement. When Ino saw her, she was even more excited than Alicia. Her cheeks were flushed. This is amazing, she breathed. Alicia stepped closer, her face almost touching Ino's. How did you do this? Tell me quickly. Ino took a few deep breaths and let her words come. I have to start from the beginning. Ever since I arrived in the Asdana star system, the erosion felt inexplicably smoother. I suspect it's related to how abundant memories are here. When I entered the dream pool, I confirmed something. Memories are also a pathway for me. I can move through memories the way I move through a network, though much slower. So at the moment of entering the dream, I tried to separate the two of us the way I had before. It worked. We appeared in the dream as two distinct individuals. How much power can you use now? Alicia asked. If we look at raw numbers, about 10%, Ino said. The other 90% should be with you. Using Fantelia as a reference, even against an emissary, you'd still have the strength to escape. Ino continued, searching for an analogy. Think of it like sound. If the speed of sound propagation measures my overall ability, in real-world time my authority is like sound in gas, about 340 ms per second. In data space, it's like sound in a solid, about 5,000 ms per second. In a dream mostly made of memories, it's like sound in a liquid. I can exert the equivalent of 1,500 ms per second. So Alicia, don't worry. Even though I'm only using 10% of my power, the environment gives me a boost. I can probably use about half of my real-world ability here, and I've gained new mechanisms. I'm not a memo keeper, but I can move through memories like one, and I can investigate or even control memories within a certain range. Chapter 144, Golden Moment. Controlling memories. So the way Ino and I appear in the dream was all constructed by your ability, Ino? Yes. Memory control isn't as precise as raw data manipulation, but you can think of it like memory modules. No wonder I could only be inside Ino's mind before, and now I can stand beside her like everyone else. Ino bringing her beloved to her side is truly amazing. Alicia hummed, delighted. Even with her feet on the ground, Ino felt like she was floating. So you can now edit our appearances freely? Well, Alicia, I want you to show others the original you first, especially our companions on the Express. After that, you can change however you like. However I like? You said it yourself. Alicia's grin deepened. Yes, also I can erode memories to create something like a memory bubble and transmit my memories to other people. Eno looked at Alicia's smiling face. She knew Alicia was already thinking of ways to tease her. Eno could read Alicia's thoughts if she wanted, but she wouldn't. If she did, she wouldn't be able to enjoy this. Alicia's smile when the plan worked. In public, only I get to see the most beautiful face in the universe up close. I'm even willing to be teased for it. Alicia let her playful expression fade and turned to the golden statue before them. This statue. That should be Clocky. He has a deep connection with the watchmaker. We're in the golden hour now. The most famous spot here is the Dream Jolt hostelry. Want to go see it? Lead the way, Eno. Alicia offered her left hand. Eno swallowed, raised her right, and took it. It wasn't their first touch, but Eno found Alicia's palm unexpectedly soft and comforting. They had barely walked a few steps when a strange machine nearby began spitting out banknotes. A man swooped down and stuffed them into his arms, only to discover after a few strides that the bills vanished. He trudged away amid jeers. Eno watched him for a long moment, bewildered. Why such hunger for money? For her, account balances were just numbers she could change. She could have as much as she wanted. Bang! Something crashed from the sky and hit the ground. It was March, landing in an exaggerated Yamcha-style pose. Sunday and Robin hovered nearby. Miss Eno, leave her to us, Sunday said. March slowly rose from the pit, eyes blank as she took in the surroundings. Eno, why are there two of you? Am I hallucinating? Hey, don't worry. You made it into the dream. It looks like this guest isn't used to shifting from reality into a dream yet. That weightless feeling is common for newcomers. Robin, help our friend adapt to this beautiful dream. Leave it to me. Robin nodded to her brother, then met March's gaze. Her emerald eyes softened into a smile. Ripples spread through their lake-green depths, and a vortex rose from the pool between them. March took a few steadying breaths at an involuntary rhythm. Clarity returned to her bewildered eyes. She clenched her fists as a calm energy filled her, and suddenly she felt invigorated. You've now fully attuned to the dream. Welcome to Penacony. Were you brainwashing me just now? Not really. She used the harmony's resonance to tune you so you can control your body better in the dream. Penacony is essentially a world built from memories. Understanding that lets you move freely within it. It's like learning to swim. At first you sink because you can't sense the buoyancy properly, but once your body adjusts to the water flow, you can float. Alicia whispered, and Eno's a natural swimmer. March listened to Sunday's explanation and nodded, half understanding. So, I can just float in the air? Theoretically, yes, but it's difficult. Our grasp of memories is shallow. Apart from the memo keepers of the Garden of Recollection, ordinary people can't manipulate memories at will. Still, with the harmony's tuning, you can use the physical laws of reality as an anchor to get your bearings here. Oh dear, my teacher instincts are showing again. I can never stop wanting to explain things. Don't mind him, he's always like that. Enjoy the dream paradise the family created. We'll be on our way. Have fun. Sunday and Robin glanced at Alicia. Eno didn't intend to explain, and they didn't ask further. They left. March scrutinized Eno and Alicia, then suddenly brightened. I know, you're Eno's long-lost twin sister. Not exactly long-lost, Eno said. Alicia smiled faintly. My name is Alicia, a beautiful maiden true to her name. From the space station to Penacony, I've actually been at everyone's side. At that moment, March's device pinged. March 7th had sent a message. Wow, I can send messages in the dream too. Just contacted Himeko and Mr. Welt. Everyone's scattered across different dreams. I'm in the twilight hour, going to check the auction. I ran into Eno and her twin in the golden hour. Huh? But Eno's a virus. How would she have a twin? Right, but she really looks a lot like Eno, like a recolor. She says she's been with us since the space station. Maybe an alter ego? I'll ask Mr. Welt. As March and March 7th chatted, Eno had already told Welt about Alicia in a way he could understand. Soon March and March 7th both received Welt's reply. I'll explain the details in person when we meet. For now, I can confirm she is one of our companions. 145. Let You Fly, March 7th, and Star were puzzled, but Welt had vouched for it, so they said no more. After the call ended, Eno checked carefully again. There really isn't any problem. Where do you want to go? March 7th recommended the Dream Jolt hostelry. What a coincidence. Let's go together. On the way to the Dream Jolt hostelry, they passed moving billboards. Drink this bottle of Solda, and happy dreams will arrive quickly. Watching the adverts bounce, Star idly pulled out her baseball bat and swung. The billboard toppled, lay still for a few seconds, then used its waist to stand back up. It wasn't angry or upset, just repeated the slogan. Looks like a promotional device for the Soleta store, Eno said. She flicked a finger at another billboard. It flew straight onto a nearby wall. Before it could fall, Eno reached out and plucked it free. Star stared in surprise, and Alicia applauded. Eno really is powerful. Before Star could ask, Eno explained. If we're in a data space like the simulated universe, and there's no Aeon or other emissary interfering, then, so long as the system's computational limits aren't exceeded, how each program runs and how objects move can be determined by my will. That billboard, it's basically a chunk of memory. You knock it down and it doesn't produce any extra emotion, it's just memories executing a fixed command. At that level, memories are like a machine running a program. Change its parameters, and you change its behavior. She raised a hand. The billboard rose and floated above Star's head, no longer chanting the slogan. But if the information is larger and more intelligent, it won't be so simple. Full control would take much more time. Eno snapped her fingers, and the billboard returned to its original place, jumping and humming as if nothing had happened. They walked on down the main road until Alicia pointed. Look, over there, that big eye must be the Dream Jolt hostelry. Eno's first thought at seeing the eye was the Aeon of Order Taiyi. As they drew closer, the eye rotated. Welcome to the Dream Jolt hostelry, trailblazer of the Astral Express, and two beautiful ladies. How do you know who I am but not them? Star asked. I know you because I've been running a psychoanalysis on you since you arrived. As for these two ladies, they're very powerful. Their subconscious resistance blocks my probes, so I couldn't read them. If I'm not mistaken, is this your first time in Penacony? Don't worry. Dr. Edward will take care of you. He'll help you pick your first dream and make sure you fully enjoy the audio-visual feast only a dream can offer. This gray-haired guest has already been analyzed. I think you'll like this dream bubble. It's from a private, anonymous donation, and the memories inside are said to belong to the fallen Aeon Akivili. I can assure you, this dream bubble is definitely suitable for you. How many credits? Star asked. You don't need to pay. Dr. Edward promises every new guest one free dream bubble. All right, please close your eyes and press your forehead to the dream bubble. Star touched the bubble and received a memory. Tell your friends what you saw. I saw Pom-Pom scolding someone, probably Akivili. Pom-Pom accused him of driving a snowmobile into the Tyconium Grand Stadium, disrupting the venue's order, forcing the game to stop, and making 20 Nameless and him work unpaid for 3 months to repair the facade. He once snuck into the Hawaii State Zoo, bought 250 baby rhino gradentia with half the Astral Express crew's Amber-era budget, and kept them in the restroom to multiply, which filled neighboring carriages with sewage. There were 46 malicious incidents in total. Pom-Pom rated him the second worst Nameless. Then who's the worst? Some guy who blew the Astral Express in half. Would you two ladies like to try a dream that best matches your subconscious desires, like your friend? Eno rolled her eyes a few times. No problem. Your psychoanalysis is complete. This dream bubble contains the family's research on memories. Eno pressed the bubble to her forehead, and images poured through. The family used memories primarily as building materials. After scanning the content, she looked disappointed. Sunday hadn't lied. The family's research on memories was far inferior to the Garden of Recollection. Eno had already obtained a more detailed report on the family's memory research from a memo keeper in Ruan-Mei. My expectations were too high. Even if the family has some unique work on memories, it's unlikely they'd put anything that important into a dream bubble available at the Dream Jolt hostelry. She handed the bubble back to Dr. Edward. Let's go. Alicia, I tried to analyze this guest, but none of the dream bubbles here match her. I apologize for the unsatisfying experience. It's fine. The wish I want to fulfill will be realized soon, so I don't need a dream bubble either. You really are sunny and optimistic. I wish you the best in all your endeavors. Eno and Alicia left the Dream Jolt hostelry and wandered through the Audi shopping center. Eno had no concept of prices. The most expensive and the cheapest items looked the same to her, and she had no desire to shop. Many goods here were only usable in dreams. Outside of dreams, they were just masses of memories. That made them easy for Eno to corrupt. She could extract the code that constituted an item and the programs that ran it, and then mass-produce them by hand. There was no point in buying. Still, she didn't want to spoil Alicia's mood, so she accompanied her through the stalls. Not long after, a commotion came from the direction of the station. Don't even think about running, you stowaway. Chapter Secret Observation. Eno and Alicia, along with the other onlookers, turned toward the station. A silver-haired girl was running ahead, chased by a couple of Hound family guards. The girl suddenly skidded to a stop when she saw Stella and hurried over to her. No, I'm sorry. Please help me. Protecting a beautiful girl is my inescapable duty, Stella said, instinctively drawing her baseball bat. Guys, she has an accomplice. Take them both down, one of the hounds barked. Eno started to step forward, but Alicia stopped her with a smile. Eno, understanding a girl's subtle feelings is very important, you know. If we listen carefully, we'll hear that the silver-haired girl is actually enjoying being rescued by Stella. Let's move somewhere we can hear them clearly. This time, Eno halted Alicia. No need. She stretched out her hand and sent forth countless invisible viruses that dispersed through the memory-laced air and cloaked the area around Stella. Placing her hand over Alicia's, she focused the channel so that every sound in that space streamed directly into their ears. In the dream, my control over distance and precision is much better, Eno explained quietly. At this range, I can use memory viruses as a carrier to create an invisible information channel to a specified area and set it to relay only certain types of data. If the incoming information is sound, it passes through to me, the host. Anything else can't enter. Because it uses the dispersed memories in the air rather than airborne transmission, there's no risk of these viruses affecting other people, she added. Alicia clapped lightly. Eno, your performance today has exceeded my expectations. Well done. The two Hound family members were clearly outmatched by Stella. As they were about to call for backup, a brown-haired man strode over and exchanged a look with the girl. All right, enough. How are you doing your jobs? Open your eyes. Is this the stowaway we're looking for? One guard whispered. Huh? Who is this guy? His partner rolled her eyes. You don't know? Brown hair, gray vest. This is the sheriff the family sent to oversee the grand concert. Oh, report, sir. We were apprehending a stowaway. This young girl seems suspicious. That's nonsense. The eyewitness said the stowaway had silver hair. You're going to arrest a silver-haired girl for me? And you were arguing with a guest, the man snapped. Get out of the way. I'll handle it. The two young hounds left. The brown-haired man approached Stella and the silver-haired girl. I apologize for the disturbance in front of our honored guests. I'm Gallagher of the Hound family, and those boys were young hounds I'm training. They're inexperienced and misread my orders. They even treated distinguished guests of Penacony as criminals. It was terribly rude. On behalf of the Hound family, I offer my sincere apologies. Stella blinked. So what's this stowaway business all about? Gallagher explained from the start. The Hound family is the Dream's gatekeeper. We handle security here, including rounding up stowaways. We received a notice that some lawless types plan to infiltrate Penacony under cover of the grand event. It's the eve of the grand concert. There are a lot of people with dubious motives. Please rest assured, miss. This must be a mistake. How could such a lovely girl be a stowaway? He added, turning to the silver-haired girl. Thank you. If you hadn't helped, I don't know what would have happened, the girl said to Stella. It's nothing. I have other matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave. If you need anything, find one of the nearby young hounds and ask for me. Enjoy your night, Gallagher said, then left. The silver-haired girl turned to Stella with a grateful smile. Thanks for your help just now. If you hadn't stepped in, I might have been taken away. Galactic Batman, mission accomplished, Stelly announced, making a half-serious, half-playful flourish. The girl actually smiled at the odd remark. You're funny when you talk. By the way, you're a Nameless, aren't you? Alicia's lips twitched. Confirmed. She already had some connection to Stella before, and her attempt to get closer, well, it's rather clumsy. But Stella might fall for it. Stella looked puzzled. Are the Nameless that famous? Of course. The Interstellar Peace broadcast recently covered your exploits. I know you travel all over the galaxy. Didn't the family invite you here? I can be your guide, the silver-haired girl hurried on. Although they mistook me for a stowaway, I'm actually local. I'm Firefly, an artist of the Iris family. I'm only a temporary performer, but when I'm not on stage, I do reception work around Glamoth Avenue. If you don't mind, I could show you around. There's lots to see. If I work hard, maybe I won't get investigated anymore. Even Alicia could see Firefly was trying to get close to Stella, and it was clumsy. To prevent naive Stella from being lured off by someone who might have other aims, Eno tightened the rules of her channel. At this distance, I should be able to detect something. Barely. Alicia leaned in. What incredible secret has Eno found this time? Firefly, could she be Sam? Alicia murmured. Before Alicia finished, Eno answered. At this range, I can barely pick up energy fluctuations from Firefly. The readings are noisy and full of errors, but I'm certain this is the imaginary energy signature unique to the path of finality. She speaks plainly, coherently, not babbling like the Final King's cultists. She's too normal to be a harbinger of omen or a funeral guest, Eno continued. That leaves the Stellaron hunters. Kafka, Blade, and Silver Wolf are already on wanted posters. Elio doesn't strike me as someone who would show himself in public, so by process of elimination. She fell silent for a moment, thinking, it seems my presence here won't change the fact that she's going to experience 3 deaths in Penacony. By then, Stelly and Firefly were already walking away together. Eno watched them go and considered the implications. If Firefly really was a Stellaron hunter, then not only would she be unlikely to do anything harmful to Stell, but she might actually be there to protect her. Putting personal feelings aside, Eno realized that in Elio's script, Stella must play a very important role. 147. Zhang Pinocchio Gourmet. Now that we've confirmed Star is safe, Eno, can we move forward with what we talked about earlier? Eno felt her pulse quicken. There's still time before we have to meet up. If you want to play Alicia, then have fun. But first, we need to do some prep. Eno set her right hand against Alicia's back and ran it over gently for a moment. That went smoother than I expected. Alicia, try it. Something shifted in Alicia's mind. With a single command, she changed her outfit to match Eno's. I shared a little of my erosion authority with you, Eno explained. Only a very small portion. At this distance, though, it should be enough for you to reconstruct our appearances as you wish. You can share erosion? Alicia breathed. It should only be possible with you, Alicia, Eno said. You're the Herrscher of origin. You have a special connection to the other Herrschers, including me. Even without an imaginary singularity inside you, that bond exists. Can we go somewhere less crowded first? Alicia took Eno's hand, and they left the Audi shopping center, walking until they reached a quieter spot. A shopping bag appeared in Alicia's hand. She reached in and pulled out outfit after outfit, more than the bag should have held. Couldn't we just change our appearances directly? Eno asked. Alicia waved a hand. For a pretty girl like you, the ritual of dressing up matters. All right. Alicia made a big show of it, coaxing Eno to slide a hand into the bag, lifting a foot, smoothing fabric, playful and meticulous. Come on, left foot up, slowly. Yes, very good. She fussed over Eno, smoothing wrinkles across her jacket. Alicia, why does this outfit look kind of weird? It's fine. You look good in anything, but it needed something else. Next one. Who designed these pants? Why does such thick material leave only a strip of calf exposed? Do primates have some one patch of calf that's specially hardy? And this top, way too much chest exposed. After a while, Alicia stepped back, pleased. Now you're even cuter. Eno stood in a dark blue midi skirt, a white t-shirt, and a beige jacket. She conjured a mirror with her bare hands and admired herself. She'd always trusted Alicia's sense of style, and after the final plan, this surpassed even her expectations. Ino, can you do that thing? You know, that thing? Alicia blinked expectantly. Ino understood, shook her head playfully, then gave a knowing wink. Yes, that's the look. If I performed on stage like this, I'd probably outshine Robin in no time. If I used my genius identity to gain fame, that could definitely happen. You're all dressed up now, Alicia said, delighted. Next, date time, right? They walked out to the plaza outside the mall. Look at all this. Delicacies, luxury goods, trendy toys. Some of it can't be brought into reality without special services, but the taste here is indistinguishable, and in a dream you don't have to worry about gaining weight. Ino smiled at the bright spread of foods. Some of these treats were memories rendered from data. Others were virtual constructs edged with virus-like code. Eating in a dream suited their bodies better anyway. Ino read the descriptions posted beside each stall. Sweet Dream Cone. What does a sweet dream taste like? Had spawned over 20 different flavors since its launch. After filtering, 3 main flavors remained, representing the 3 most popular dream scenarios. 3 scenarios, Alicia mused aloud. Amnesia, car crash, terminal illness? Oak roll cake, another description read. Legend tells of poor settlements on fringe planets adding sawdust to bread for satiety. That practice later became an affectation of the wealthy, remembering past hardship, savoring present sweetness. This product uses copious plant additives, resembling a piece of oak in shape and texture. Only the most determined can actually swallow it. Today, politicians of the oak family eat it without changing their expressions, claiming it shows courage. Pika White Grape Soda, a potent fermented white grape soda that cools the throat, sour and bitter, often causes sneezing and a runny nose. Testers say it's like a cold hand pressed to the back of the neck. Pika, so that's the sneeze sound? Alicia snorted. Who thinks up these descriptions? Fries Sundae, not strictly a food, but a dream-only way of eating. Fries never go stale from cooling, and ice cream never melts from warmth. Hot and cold achieve perfect harmony here. That one actually sounds normal, Ino said. In a dream, you don't get stomach aches. Clock Pizza, too normal to be interesting. UFO Burger, wouldn't the Aeon of Finality object to its shape? Ino, what do you want to try? Alicia asked. I'll have one of everything. Ino picked up a sweet dream cone and bit into the green scoop on top. It was cool and sweet, like fruit, but otherwise unremarkable. It tasted like any real-world dessert. So the spiel about sweet dreams was just marketing, Alicia said. Or maybe the family altered the recipe for safety. Alicia tugged Ino's sleeve and leaned close. Ino brought the cone to her mouth, and Alicia deftly took the half-eaten green scoop between her lips. 148. Happiness. They finished sharing the snacks in no time. After Alicia wiped her lips, she caught sight of a narrow alley and leaned close to Ino's ear. Ino, do you want to do something a little bolder with me? Ino had no idea what new scheme Alicia was plotting, or why Alicia's face had turned as red as hers. In their past duels, Ino had always been on the defensive, but she didn't intend to refuse. A little while later, tucked away in a quiet alley in a bustling corner of Penacony where no one would disturb them, the blue-haired girl found herself quickly cornered. Alicia slammed her palm against the wall beside Ino's head. Knowing Alicia, a Kabadan was probably only the beginning. True to form, Alicia pressed her whole body against Ino's. The space between them grew smaller and smaller. Then Alicia took a cookie stick, bit one end, and placed the other end into Ino's mouth. Ino knew the rules. They would both eat the cookie from opposite ends at the same time. Whoever let go or broke it first lost. Alicia didn't say what the loser's punishment would be, but Ino suspected she wouldn't be spared any embarrassment. Even though being this close wasn't new in their shared consciousness space, doing it out here where someone might pass and see them made Ino flush hotter than she had expected. To steady herself, she shut her eyes when Alicia signaled the start and began nibbling forward slowly. Even without actively using her erosion ability to sense it, she felt the distance to the most beautiful face in the universe, specifically those crimson lips shrinking bit by bit. Their lips reached a dangerously close point. A mess of feelings swelled in Ino's chest. Timidity and shyness nearly won out. If it got any closer, it would be something she'd never experienced even in the consciousness space. She'd be ecstatic, of course, but she was terrified and on the verge of surrender. Just as she was about to pull back, a gentle touch brushed her lips. It was fleeting, but when Ino registered it, her mind went blank from the rush of feeling. "I won, Alicia said softly. Those words pushed Ino's restart button. After a few heartbeats, she came back to herself. "I didn't scare you, did I?" A little, but more like a surprise. I didn't expect. Consider it setting an example for you. Ino, you should be more proactive in the future." Heat washed through Ino. Her feelings for Alicia had been overflowing for a long time, and hearing that made 1,000 thoughts tumble through her head. After an internal struggle, she decided to act. She took a shaky breath and leaned forward. Kiss. Her lips brushed Alicia's cheek. When she opened her eyes, Alicia had lost her balance and was tipping backward. Ino caught her quickly. A moment later, Alicia blinked, regained her composure, and let out a breathy laugh. "Ino, you really have grown up, haven't you?" About half a system hour later, Alicia had regained her usual lively energy. Seeing Ino look a little sheepish, she pressed her body against hers again. "Ino, just now, even though you acted shy, you were happy inside, weren't you?" Ino replied. "A girl's feelings are like a delicate thread. If you pluck it too hard all at once, it can't stand it." Alicia's tone was teasing, but her eyes were warm. "So like you, I don't always say it outright, but I'm actually very happy too." Ino almost thought, "Didn't you just say that out loud?" But it didn't matter. She felt wrapped in a warmth she'd never known before. For Ino, the sensation was dizzying, as if she were sinking into a jar of honey. Nothing could have meant more than discovering the person she'd supported nearly all her life might feel the same way and move toward her in return. "Close your eyes," Alicia murmured, waving her hand as if shooing away a serious mood. "I know you're happy, but our date isn't over. That was just an unexpected bonus. Eating and shopping isn't everything." They left the alley and strolled without realizing how far they'd gone until they stood on a viewing platform. Off in the distance rose a distinctive building. "The Penacony Grand Theater," Ino said. "Public records say it used to be Asdana's central prison. The family renovated it in the dreamscape and turned it into the Grand Theater it is today. From the moment it opened, the Grand Theater has continuously played the Ode to Orchestral Gala across the dream world. It's frequently the venue for the family's gala, and they're holding one again now. What they want to summon is probably the Chorus of Resonance Dominicus. Why?" Ino let the question trail off. Alicia listened carefully to the explanation, and Ino decided not to overthink things for the moment. They used the telescope for a while, then continued down the main road toward Etienne Park. "Ino, my guide, what's the story behind Etienne Park?" Alicia asked cheerfully. "It's named after Etienne, the owner of the Solda Group," Ino replied. Soleda originally came from a sweet potion that was popular during the prison era, invented by Susa. They called it Susa water. In time, Etienne, an interstellar merchant, saw the chance, bought the Susa water formula, improved it a bit, renamed it Soleda, and slowly grew to monopolize Penacony's beverage market. Ino's sentence cut off when she noticed someone slip into the depths of Etienne Park. The figure moved fast, and from behind, the shape looked familiar. Sampo. 149. Acquaintance Ino and Alicia threaded deeper into Etienne Park, and soon noticed a dark blue-haired man with green eyes in a burgundy coat, glancing around as if he were tailing someone. They followed him, and quickly got their answer. "Is he following Stelly and Firefly?" Alicia murmured. Before Ino could warn them, Firefly, who had been near the amusement park, had already noticed the man. Realizing that a discreet tale would be useless, he approached with an awkward smile. "Yo, long time no see. I didn't expect to run into you here. I'm really lucky." Stella stared at the newcomer, taken aback. "Sampo?" The man spread his hands. "Yes, your old friend Sampo, the one and only." "Are you really the one and only?" Stella asked. At that moment, Ino and Alicia stepped up behind him. "Isn't this Miss Ino?" the blue-haired man began, surprised. "You doubt my identity? Don't joke. If I'm not Sampo, who would I be?" "In that case, I have a way to check." Ino's tone was casual. "Don't worry. It only takes a second." She extended her right index finger, and a tiny virus carrying a special code slipped into his body. In the blink of an eye, the man in front of them shifted into a young girl with twin pigtails and unmistakable pupils. Stella gaped. Sampo, you're actually a beautiful girl? Firefly stepped forward instinctively, putting himself between Stella and the girl, his eyes guarded. I think she took Sampo's form to get close to us. The girl, whose disguise Ino had stripped with a single move, showed no aggression. She put her hands on her hips and pouted. What did you do? Ino scratched her head. I didn't expect it to work on the first try. If I explained from the beginning, this probably ties back to the Aeon of Elation. Aha! That's quite a leap, Sparkle, because that was the girl's voice, said, skeptical. Never mind. Start from the start, then. In the simulated universe Herta built, she created data entities of various aeons. The simulated Aha had the highest error rate. It kept realizing it was only code inside a data space, and after every repair, it would revert to factory settings. Herta and I analyzed it and concluded that whatever was causing the resets probably came from Aha himself. In my case, my power doesn't override an Aeon's authority, but that doesn't mean I can't work around it. After watching it for a while, I managed to record the data generated at the exact moment the simulated Aha reverted. I modified that data and extracted a code that can, at least in theory, force any inorganic life form below the emissary level, especially Pathstriders of Elation, to revert to their factory settings with a single trigger. Just now, when I suspected you weren't Sampo, I sent that virus inside you. I didn't expect it to work so cleanly. Stella rubbed her head. So she's a machine? Not exactly. Ino's voice grew more technical. The reason you can be killed in a dream without dying in reality is that everyone in a dream is basically a proxy constructed from memories. In my view, when someone enters a dream, their soul, their consciousness, is transferred into a special space made of those memories. The proxies that inhabit that space are composed of data that can be manipulated. That makes this trick feasible. Sparkle folded her arms and smirked. Masking identities with tricks, how theatrical. But you, masked fool, haven't said anything yet. Sparkle sighed dramatically. All right, I'll talk. My name's Sparkle. Like Sampo, I'm one of the masked fools. And like all of you here, I'm also a guest invited to Penacony. She glanced at Firefly. Don't get so protective. I saw you lingering in EDN Park and thought I'd invite you to some adult entertainments. I wasn't going to lay a hand on you, especially not on this gray-haired one. Then why disguise yourself as Sampo? Stella asked. To increase credibility, who would you trust more, a friend taking you to something fun or a stranger? Sparkle shrugged. Stella hesitated, then said, It depends on who the stranger is. Sparkle laughed. True. You and the lady next to you are mysteries too, yet you trust her far more than me, far more than Sampo even. If you keep playing with her, your progress will lag behind everyone else. Stella looked at Ino. What Sparkle says is partly true, but not the whole truth. Her ultimate goal is to uncover the family's secret buried under the beautiful dream. She hopes you'll help her. Also, Hey, stop! Sparkle cut in, blushing with mock offense. You don't have to tell everything. Some things have nothing to do with them, or with Penacony. Leave me some privacy. As soon as Ino fell silent, Sparkle suddenly darted off, speeding out of EDN Park with an indignant, almost petulant expression. Oh, what rotten luck. I run into her right away. Sampo warned me that if I meet this genius, I'll be stripped clean. No underwear left. Not very fun. And didn't he say that for machines, mind reading requires direct contact? You, Sampo, you told me half-truths. She shook her head in exaggerated scandal. Never mind. Lady Sparkle is magnanimous. I'll leave him be. Next. I know. I'll go find that flamboyant peacock. Sparkle brightened, skipped away, and vanished into the distance. Stella and Firefly, still trying to make sense of the exchange, watched her go with synchronized bewilderment. Firefly gave a resigned grin. Oh dear. Ino scared her away. It's fine, Ino said. We can be fairly sure she means us no harm. Alicia stepped forward. What I wanted to add earlier. According to Earth's calendar, Sparkle crossed the end and at the latest 8 years afterward, somehow bypassed the interstellar Great Wall and reached the solar system. Huh? Firefly and Stell both blinked. She probably has no direct ties to May and the others. Welt never mentioned her in his usual stories. Yet she once invited a Venusian we all know about into the Masked Fools. In that sense, Sparkle is an acquaintance of ours. Wonder 50, Chapter Extra, Approaching the Starry Sky, to the Flawless. This segment is sponsored by the Interstellar Peace Corporation. She is eternal beneath the star dome. With her love and her beauty, she rejuvenates this desolate land. True self is her promise, the future her gift. She offers her whole self as a flawless flower seed of hope, bestowing new life upon a world on the brink of oblivion. In this episode of Stardome, let us meet this flawless human, true self, Herrscher of Human. Insert character portrait. Regardless of whether your world measures time by day and night, I wish you a good morning, noon, and night. I'm your favorite host, Jimmy. Today, the production team is honored to invite Miss Eno, the 85th member of the Genius Society, as our guest. Eno's face tightened with nerves. Is there anything I should be careful about? Haha, no. Miss Eno, as our guest, please relax and speak freely. Just be honest. Jimmy lowered his voice. So, Miss Eno, Miss March 7th's theory from the last episode, was she right? Are there really two people inside you? Yes, but unfortunately, Alicia can only take a new body inside the dreamscape of Penacony right now. Don't worry, Miss Eno. This universe has room for countless possibilities. As long as a soul survives, there are many ways to find a body. And since Miss Alicia can share a body with you, I imagine she must be special in other ways too. Eno repeated Jimmy's prompt to herself and decided to speak as he requested, honestly. Alicia is unlike anyone else. She pours everything into protecting life and guarding civilization. She loves everyone completely. She keeps truth and humility carved into her heart. Ignorant life stirs from chaos, and the songs of blessing echo across the human world. One day she fell from the heavens. People looked up and saw the star dome. The stars and moon brought down a god's daughter who wished to walk with humans. The long wind became her chariot, the four seas her garden. Birds carried seeds of kindness, and 100 flowers wove a hymn of love. She was born into the world, walked the earth, grew with humanity, sprouted with the world. Because she once came, the stars will shine. Because she never left, 100 flowers will bloom. She weaves arrows, flowers, and love into flawless flower seeds of new life, scattering them over withered earth. Miss Eno, this program has limited time. Let's first look at her skill introduction. Jimmy wiped sweat from his forehead and muttered under his breath, "No genius is ever normal." Basic attack, fleeting blossoms, fading light. True self, Herrscher of Human, is an ice-type character following the nihility path. Her basic attack deals ice damage to a single targeted enemy based on her ATK. Skill, light twists and turns, reflecting starlight. Her skill deals ice damage to a targeted enemy and adjacent targets based on her ATK, and grants a certain number of flawless flower seeds. You've probably noticed the ultimate icon is a budding flower. That means her ultimate is special. To cast True Self, Herrscher of Human's ultimate, you must accumulate flawless flower seeds. She starts a battle with 1 flawless flower seed. When her flawless flower seeds reach 13, the icon blooms and the ultimate becomes available. If there were only one way to gain seeds, Alicia would accumulate them very slowly. There must be other ways tied to teammates. Miss Eno, you're right. Besides True Self, Herrscher of Human's own skill, she gains 1 flawless flower seed for every enemy afflicted by a negative status effect. That is per enemy. If multiple enemies are on the field and our teammates' skills or ultimates apply negative effects to all enemies, True Self, Herrscher of Human, gains multiple flawless flower seeds at once. When there are few enemies, don't worry. If the number of enemies on the field is 2 or fewer, the number of flawless flower seeds gained by the methods above is increased. Also, by her talent, once seeds reach 13, some flawless flower seeds can overflow. Ultimate, Fated Self, Eternal Brilliance. When casting her ultimate, True Self, Herrscher of Human transforms from Herrscher of Human into Herrscher of Origin and activates the Starry Sky Waltz domain. All other teammates within the domain immediately leave the field, and all enemies gain an ice weakness. While the domain exists, True Self, Herrscher of Human's ATK and HP are greatly increased, and she is immune to crowd control negative effects. After activating the Starry Sky Waltz domain, she immediately acts and gains 11 consecutive extra turns. Except for the last turn, which deactivates the domain, during the first 10 turns, she can freely use a combination of 1 enhanced basic attack and 2 enhanced skills that do not consume skill points, depending on the situation. Why 11? Jimmy asked. Is there special meaning behind that number? Alicia is the Herrscher of origin in this form, so the skill effects are tied to notions of birth and beginnings. According to Earth's calendar, Alicia's birthday is November 11th. Oh, I see. Important to note, while the domain exists, True Self, Herrscher of Human, keeps taking consecutive extra turns. Regardless of enemy speed or phase transitions, enemies cannot act until she finishes all her extra turns. This means that while she has extra turns, enemies can only stand still, unable to target or attack our team, unable to summon other enemies, and unable to add effects like ATK increase or HP recovery to any unit on the field. Death trigger skills still activate normally, but True Self, Herrscher of Human, will continue to act afterward. Is this still a turn-based game? Jimmy asked. Is there a problem? Some enemies can act twice or more in a row. Alicia simply gets more consecutive actions than they do. Players aren't spending money only for the monsters, right? I can't argue with that. Enhanced Basic Attack, Hope, like a twinkling starlight. Her enhanced basic attack fires a crystal ice mirror that deals 5 instances of damage. Each instance deals ice damage to a random single enemy based on her ATK. If there are 5 enemies, each is guaranteed 1 hit. Enhanced Skill 1, Romance, like the moon reflected in the sky. Enhanced Skill 1 raises her staff, and with accompanying stingrays, deals ice damage to all enemies. Enhanced Skill 2, Steadfastness, like the vow of fading fire. Enhanced Skill 2 lifts her into the sky, condenses her power, and fires an arrow that deals massive ice damage to all enemies, plus an additional 12 instances of damage. Note, after this skill deals damage, regardless of how many extra turns she has left, the domain immediately deactivates. Miss Ino, are you winking? Is there some deeper meaning? Seeing Alicia make that gesture, memories flooded Ino. She wanted to admire Alicia's combat stance, but in person she felt a trace of fear. She compromised by winking herself to find balance. At least, that's what she told herself. It's nothing. Right. If Enhanced Skill 2 isn't used during the first 10 turns, True Self, Herrscher of Human, will unleash a final strike at the start of her last extra turn, dealing ice damage to all enemies and deactivating the domain. That damage is evenly distributed among enemies. After unlocking certain traces, when the domain is activated, all negative effects on enemies persist until the domain ends. After the enemies in the current wave are defeated, those negative effects are randomly transferred to enemies in the next wave. All beneficial effects provided by teammates to True Self, Herrscher of Human, before the domain activates are still calculated normally after activation. Technique, True Self, like Alicia. When casting her technique, True Self, Herrscher of Human, gains an additional number of flawless flower seeds on entering battle, based on how many allies are on her team. To summarize, True Self, Herrscher of Human, needs to rapidly accumulate flawless flower seeds and relies on continuous multi-action output inside her domain. She can choose different modes of output to adapt to various situations. As usual, next is the combat demonstration. In this fight, True Self, Herrscher of Human's teammates are Ino and Pella. In a dream, anything is possible. After each character cast their technique and entered, 5 enemies appeared on the field. When Ino's technique applied 1 stack of erosion to every enemy, True Self, Herrscher of Human, immediately gained 5 flawless flower seeds. Ino used her skill. Since all enemies gained another erosion stack, True Self, Herrscher of Human, gained another 5 seeds. At that point, the flawless flower seeds were full. Pella cast her skill, the setup was complete, and True Self, Herrscher of Human, activated her ultimate. The domain appeared, teammates left the field. True Self, Herrscher of Human's 11 consecutive extra turns filled the left-hand action bar. By repeatedly using Enhanced Skill 1, she annihilated the first wave. The second wave appeared, Argenti, a noble knight of beauty. With only Argenti on the field, all negative effects from the previous wave, 10 stacks of erosion and Pella's def reduction, were transferred to him. True Self, Herrscher of Human, adjusted tactics and spent several turns using enhanced basic attacks, chipping away at Argenti's first phase HP. Entering his second phase, it was clear Argenti's next action would come only after True Self, Herrscher of Human's last extra turn. He couldn't summon any sculptures while she was still acting. On her 10th she chose Enhanced Skill 2. That looked brutal. Since the 12 additional instances of damage all hit a single target, Argenti's second phase HP vanished instantly. After that devastating blow, the domain deactivated early, and she returned from her Herrscher of Origin form. In the third phase, Argenti could finally act normally, but as soon as he did, the 10 stacks of erosion ate half his HP. From then on, the team barely needed to act, just waiting for Argenti to take his turn again would finish him. Alas, the trials of beauty are always full of hardship. When the demo ended, Jimmy turned a fawning smile on Ino. "Miss Ino, what do you think of this episode's introduction?" "It's passable," Ino replied. "Then, about what you mentioned earlier, the 100 billion subsidy." The moment Jimmy's words dropped, an electronic chime sounded. Received points, exactly 100 billion. Jimmy's eyes went wide. The snowy owl mascot froze in place. It took him a long moment to recover. "As expected of Miss Ino, you are as beautiful, charming, and generous as the rumors say. It's a blessing to have invited you." Ino shrugged. "Anyway, I haven't lost anything. If there's nothing else, I'm going to go back and be with Alicia." "Ah, all right. Take your time. Take your time." After Ino left, Jimmy's triumphant laughter echoed through the studio. "Nay, haha, now I, Jimmy, no longer have to live at other people's whims. Official employee transfer applications, whoever wants the job can fill it out. Next, as long as I find a safe planet, use this money to open a shop, hire a few employees. I'll be the boss and enjoy a life of easy, unearned leisure. Ha 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 ha." At that moment, Jimmy's phone buzzed. He pulled it out and read the message. "Due to detection of an unusually large amount of unexplained wealth in your account, under Interstellar Peace Corporation procedures, your account has been frozen. If you have questions, please contact the Interstellar Peace Corporation Temporary Employee Financial Management Department." "Miss Ino, where exactly did these credit points come from?" Inside Etienne Park, Alicia looked at Firefly with meaning in her eyes. "Sparkle isn't an enemy. If she suggested this, it might be worth paying attention to. Shouldn't you be making faster progress?" Stella scratched her head. "So I can finish the goal without spending time building up affection?" Firefly blinked at her. "Ah, what do you mean?" Alicia stepped closer, leaning in. "What I mean is, for a cute girl like you, it would be even better if you were more honest." Firefly hesitated, turning her face away to stare into the distance as if avoiding Stella's gaze. After a long pause, she met Stella's eyes again and made up her mind. "I have been keeping things from you. For example, I'm not really a local. The Hound family is chasing me for a reason, and there are other reasons I'm traveling with you, but thank you for your help. That was real." Stell wasn't angry. "You can still get on the train, you know." "I want to take you somewhere else, okay? This time it's not a sightseeing stop. Quite the opposite. It's probably my secret hideout. There I'll tell you everything I can." "Okay, I trust you." Stella and Firefly walked out of Etienne Park side by side. "Alicia, what's next for us?" Stella asked. "Of course we're going to play a grown-up game for Sparkle," Alicia sang. Ino, using Sparkle's memory, knew Sparkle's first intended stop for Stella and Firefly, when she was Sampo, was called Pee-Pee West's Salon. With a name like that, it was easy to think of the masked fool. The three soon arrived at the somnolent dreamscape. Just as Ino was about to enter Pee-Pee West's salon to investigate, a burly Pee-Pee West bodyguard blocked the door. No entry without a VIP card. Alicia stepped forward and fluttered her lashes. "Not even for a cute and beautiful girl like me? No, not even if the Dream Master came. No VIP card, no entry." "Oh dear, Ino, it looks like we failed at the very first step. Then we'll find another way." If Ino really wanted to get into Pee-Pee West's salon, she had many avenues. Sparkle's memory showed the ideal route. If Stella could enter legitimately, that would be best. But there was also a plan B. The key was an arcade machine on the street nearby. Ino walked up and touched the machine. A flash of white light passed over her, and her body rapidly shrank, becoming identical to the big-nosed, sunglasses-wearing cool guy shaking on the arcade screen. In a normal dream, being forced into another form would mean a long search for a restoring item. For the Hanunu brothers, who could only issue a cool humph, that would be especially difficult. But Ino could freely change her dream appearance. She quickly reshaped herself back, and studied the arcade machine. It essentially uses the Hanunu brothers' forms as molds, she murmured. When someone touches it, it disintegrates their body into a liquid state and forces those memories into the Hanunu brothers' molds. It's a dream. Everyone's body here is made of memories, so the process doesn't actually injure anyone. Looks like my genius has already figured it out, Alicia purred. Ino thought through the design. Clocky corresponds to the famous watchmaker in Penacony's history. The Hanunu brothers correspond to Hanunu, who led several rebellions and turned the company's frontier prison into Penacony. Maybe Sparkle's trying to teach Stella a bit of Penacony history with this game. But the more important aim is still for Stella to finish the adventure and earn the game's rewards. Near the machine was a wall with a hole just the size of the Hanunu brothers. It marked the game's entrance. Ino decided following the designer's intended steps might not be the fastest solution. The game's instruction says, enter the doorway to start the adventure. It never said you had to enter as the Hanunu brothers. Stay here, Alicia, she told her. Abandoning her physical, memory-made body, Ino sent her virus body, her non-corporeal dream form, through the little hole into the interior. Because no normal player had entered that way, the game's programs were unactivated. Boss Stone and its minions were frozen in their starting positions. If it's a game, as long as I reach the target and defeat the enemies, the level should clear, right? So Ino bypassed the scripted path. She passed through walls, issued instant kill commands to the targets, and cleared the level directly. The reward was an odd trinket labeled Moment of Freedom. It looked like handcuffs, but one cuff was shaped like a donut. Since everything here was memory, she refined the item and extracted a piece of its contained memory. The memory flashed, a spaceship leaning through the sky, leaving a contrail. The company's pursuers had disappeared over the horizon. You and your companions high-five, feeling nothing can bind you anymore, but the memory ended with a warning. This wasn't the end. The prison still hunts. Maybe 10 years, maybe 100, you will return to it. Having earned the reward, Ino reformed her body and returned to the salon entrance. Following Sparkle's memory, she recited to the Puppy West bodyguard, I hope to take the moment of choosing betrayal, clouds of doubt, and hate until death from here. Just tell Sister Thunderhand these are materials prepared by the clown. She'll understand. Please wait a moment, the guard replied. He returned with the items. Here they are. She said these 3 alone aren't quite enough, so she sent an extra shattered dream and told you to handle it as you see fit. Ino took the items and noticed Alicia staring curiously at the arcade machine. Did you get everything? Ino, I have an idea. Since that arcade machine can shrink players, if we modify it a bit, could it turn whoever touches it back into their childhood self? Theoretically, yes, Ino said, copying the machine's data into her own memory. Well, no rush. Let's finish the grown-up game first. Now, it's time to exchange these items for the special prizes. Ino took Alicia's hand, and they quickly made their way to the game's final stop, the Dream Vending Store. 152. Zhang Wang Next Barrel. Welcome to Dream Jolt Hostelry. Dr. Edward at your service. We meet again, 2 beautiful ladies. Ino handed over the items she had just obtained. Do you need these materials to customize a repeatable, personalized dream bubble? That's right. Thank you for the materials. Reading complete. Adjusting memories and generating a dream bubble for you. Generation complete. Please be aware this dream bubble may contain stimulating scenes. If you feel any discomfort, exit immediately. Although with your strength, that should not occur. Since this bubble had been prepared for Stella, Ino decided not to alter anything. She wanted to see what kind of dream Herta had made for her. If she modified her own data the moment she touched it, she might be able to interfere with its judgment logic. She pressed the dream bubble to her forehead and felt a brief, disorienting surge, like a bad network connection. The scene shifted into a clinic in Belobog's underworld. Because the materials forming the dream had come from Herta, or Sampo, it made sense that the environment would be related to them. Ino pushed open the clinic door and stopped. A crowd of trash cans with legs was gathered in the room. This dream was tailor-made for Stella's sensibilities. But Stella wasn't here, and the presence of these trash can creatures suggested their prototype existed elsewhere too. She approached the nearest bin and checked its contents. Worm underlings, strange entities born from fiction, mentioned in unnamed historical texts and occasionally appearing in Penacony's dreams. If they were creations of the Enigmata, that fit. The Enigmata and memory often overlapped. Since this was a dream within a dream, creatures from Penacony's dreams showing up here wasn't surprising. A silver-white trash can limped toward her. "Oh, at last! You who delve deep into dreams have arrived. My name is Shatana. I wish to make a deal." "Intriguing. Go on." Shatana crossed her lid-like arms and struck a pose. "Have you heard of the Trash King Tartaroff? He is our king, shepherd of refuse. He stands on his throne, supporting humble bins and suppressing the violent ones. He is the foundation of Belobog, stabilizing our lids and straightening our frames. But when things from outside the sky descended with the cold wave, his eyes clouded. He stopped listening, and the poor bins were bullied while the loyal were unjustly shamed. We couldn't bear it. We swore to raise the banner of heavenly fire to make the Trash King mend his ways. Yet we were no match. He spread rumors, divided us, and made the trash bags lose touch with one another. I beg you, restore peace to the bins and reconnect them. Only then can we launch a counterattack against that false king." Ino's mouth twitched. She thought of Bronya and Seal. What would they make of this story? Sampo's memories clearly formed a large part of this dream realm. She ignored Shatana's main quest and continued to explore. As she passed another bin, she heard fluttering wings, out of place here. She opened the lid. A young sting, larger than the trash can itself, leapt out. The sting froze, turned, and tried to flee. It knocked over a dozen worm underlings and became disoriented, like a lost fly. Then it split into two, each duplicate searching for an exit in opposite directions. Ino made a pistol gesture with her thumb and forefinger and aimed at them. Bang! Imaginary energy flared from her left hand, blowing one of the young stings into fragments. The other tried to fly away, but the erosion virus had already hit it too. It didn't get far before it crashed into the snow like a kite with a broken string. When Ino reached it, the sting had split again on impact, but the new duplicate was as damaged as its parent. When the erosion virus infects a sting, its duplicates are infected too, mother-to-child transmission as well as respiratory and blood infection. On Herta Space Station, or Bozuo Star, Ruan-Mei always suppressed the swarm's propagation ability during cultivation. Otherwise, even if a pseudo-Stellaron worm could only exist for 56 seconds and reproduce one sting, without intervention, the seclusion zone would be overrun by the next day. Ino had not had many chances to verify mother-to-child transmission because the most prolific swarms had been eliminated before reproducing. She sighed. Before reading the sting's memories, she had made many assumptions, and she still overestimated its intelligence. It didn't know where it was born or why it had come to this dream. Its tiny brain was almost entirely consumed by the urge to reproduce. Still, there was a silver lining. Some stings could traverse dreams freely, so it wasn't a total loss. The ill-fitting dream environment became less important. Under the watchful gaze of countless worm underlings, who, of course, had no eyes, Ino exited, letting her consciousness return to the Dream Jolt hostelry. "You seem to have not finished experiencing the content of the dream bubble. May I ask, did something unexpected happen?" A young sting that can self-duplicate in a dream within a dream shouldn't be an Easter egg. A young sting? The dream bubble's content should be the story of helping the worm underlings overthrow Tartaroff. Stings should not appear. Ino tapped Dr. Edwards' large ocular interface and relayed what she had seen. I apologize. This is the first time we've encountered such a situation. I will report it immediately, and as compensation." "No compensation needed," Ino waved her hand. "The unexpected events gave me something more useful." Outside the Audi shopping center, Ino frowned. If one sting appeared, there may be others lurking in the dream. Besides that, I didn't get any other leads to investigate. At that moment, a woman in a purple veil drifted past. She looked drained, as if someone had sapped her life. Her expression snagged attention across the plaza, Ino's included, and Alicia's as well. 153. So, I took action. The woman in the purple veil quickly realized she had become the center of attention. She drew a card, shook it, and everyone around froze, except Ino and Alicia. The veiled woman glanced at Ino, Ino immediately fainted to the ground, gasping with a terrified expression, then literally found a crack in the pavement and slipped into it. After that, time resumed as if nothing had happened. The people on the street went on with their business, as though the veiled woman had never appeared. She, like Ino, can move freely in a world made of memories. Alicia hummed. Because she's a memo keeper called Black Swan. I couldn't read much more in that short window. Ino answered. So she's already gone. That doesn't matter. I don't understand why a memo keeper would make such a show in public. Maybe to cultivate an image. But she used her power to erase everyone's memories of her. I'm basically a virus, a carrier of memories. Trying to alter my memories is the same as launching an all-out attack. My counterattack protocol triggered. As a mimetic life form, she was corrupted by me. Below the rank of emissary, there's no chance of surviving that. And if this Black Swan is an emissary of memory, whoever made her strike that pose just now must have been serious. She wouldn't have fled like that otherwise. She'll come looking for me very soon. Then the reason I was fine back there must be because of Ino, right? Alicia said. Ino smiled. Alicia hugged Ino from behind and rested her head on her shoulder. I knew it. Ino's amazing. She'll always protect me. Ino ducked her head. The two of them, already conspicuous, had become the focus of passing strangers' attention. Alicia teased. Are you shy, Ino? If you like someone, you should be bold, especially when we've already, no need to hide. Ino knew that if she attacked outright, the high-offense, paper-thin Alicia wouldn't fare much better than she had, and that would mean Alicia would be embarrassed in public. So Ino dropped the idea of fighting back. Still, despite the stares, she felt a warm rush of positive emotion every moment she spent held like that. Maybe staying like this forever wouldn't be so bad. After a while, Ino felt her Alicia energy fully replenished. She gently tapped Alicia's arm. Alicia understood and released her. Alicia only had a sliver of the erosion authority and couldn't move easily through memories like Ino could. To keep her occupied, Ino manifested an arcade machine based on data she'd picked up earlier for Alicia to tinker with. Alicia took to it immediately, and Ino phased through a wall into the neighboring building, which had been sealed off for special reasons. Inside, she soon found Black Swan, dying. Ino had no intention of killing her. She drew the virus from the woman's body. Black Swan slumped against the wall, barely upright. Thank you for your mercy, Black Swan rasped. I only meant to give you a reminder, Ino said. The area you think you master is often where you'll stumble. Still, thank you. That little test just now proved something important. My infectivity toward mimetic life forms sits somewhere between inorganic life and ordinary organic life. It showed that mimetic life behaves like data life, but it's unlikely to be purely data. An existence between data and ordinary life is interesting, Black Swan said with a faint smile. In that case, tell me, who turned you into this before you met me? Ino asked. Black Swan shivered as if plucked like a goose by memory. It was Miss Acheron. Ino shuddered at the name. Even you? No, Acheron didn't directly do anything to me, Black Swan admitted, but my instincts say she has a terrifying power. I wish I had instincts like yours, she said wryly. All right, I'll start from the beginning. As a guest invited to Penacony, Afrit of the Everflame Mansion died. From what I found, the Grand Duke of Underworld Fire's death is closely tied to Miss Acheron. Died? Ino frowned, disappointed. She had been hoping to capture the Grand Duke of Underworld Fire as a subject to study destruction. If she'd managed that, she could have taken him to Bosuo Star for Ruan Mei to continue the research. I saw her in a ballroom. She had no dance partner, so I made my move. Black Swan's voice lowered. I tried to peek into her memories and suffered a backlash. If she hadn't been like you, without killing intent toward me, I might not have had a chance to meet you at all. But Acheron didn't counterattack, Black Swan went on. She never intended to hurt me, but just being near her dragged me into an abyss. Acheron is an Annihilation Gang member? Ino asked. That's right. Her strength far exceeds anything I imagined. Ino propped her chin on her hand and considered. If she's with Annihilation, then the Sea Ranger identity is probably a front. If the Grand Duke of Underworld Fire was killed by her, the invitation she carried was likely taken from him, which means the real Sea Ranger invited to Penacony hasn't arrived yet. Exactly. I'll try to contact the real Sea Ranger during my investigation. You haven't encountered a sting in the dream like I did then. A sting? Black Swan's eyes widened. I didn't think besides memory, erudition, preservation, harmony, the hunt, nihility, elation, the trailblaze, and maybe the enigmata, even the propagation would get involved. It's not just those. Finality has probably already acted as well. Whether they end up allies or enemies, Penacony is going to get very interesting. Oh, Black Swan lowered her voice. I heard from other memo keepers that the Daydream Hotel in the Dream Realm is acting strange. I plan to investigate after I recovered. I know you want me to go with you for security, Eno said, but I don't have an easy entry point right now. You go ahead. I'll catch up after I finish my instructions. I haven't gotten on the car yet. Eno returned to Alicia's side and explained the plan for what would happen next. Is that so? It seems I won't be able to offer Eno much direct help from now on. Ah, I have an idea. Alicia leaned in and whispered something to her. All right, Alicia, as long as you're happy. I knew it. Eno treats me the best. Penacony is full of strange things right now. If I'm not around and you need help, you can state your identity and contact Welt directly, or you can ask Acheron for assistance. Her stance and goals are still unclear, but from my experience, she probably won't harm you. Also, speaking of which, Alicia, your combat experience far exceeds mine. You've been through terrible moments. I'm not sure I have the right to give you advice. How could you say that? I'm glad Eno cares so much about me, but Eno should think of herself too. You're extremely powerful here, but what if there's someone stronger? You've given most of your power to me. You need ways to preserve yourself and a desperate counterstrike. Yes, I will. Don't be so serious. I believe Eno will reach her goal soon. I've thought up a very interesting game. After this is all over, I'll need your full cooperation. Eno dove through an adjacent wall and shot toward the Daydream Hotel at full speed. After dumping all her skill points into speed, her movement through memories rivaled Black Swan's. She scanned as she went. No sign of sting, not even insect eggs. But that didn't discourage her. The Asdana star system was vast. It would take a long time to gather every memory. If she wanted to sweep every memory in Asdana, she could theoretically send a swarm of carefree memes into the dreams and let them multiply until they filled the whole system. But that would be like tearing a house down just to find something inside. Worse, if the family found out she'd let carefree memes multiply unchecked in memories, it would be a disaster, an uncontrollable memory attack, a dream version insect plague. Preventing one plague by causing another would be laughable. After a while, Eno arrived at the Daydream Hotel. She noticed something odd. The memories leaking from the hotel's vicinity felt different from those of the Golden Hour and other places. If she used dihydrogen monoxide, ordinary water, as an analogy, most areas were freshwater zones, but there were also saltwater zones in Asdana. Near the Daydream Hotel, a seawater intrusion had occurred. A special memetic entity formed where the two mixed. Once she entered that memetic entity, she felt the resistance change. In a strange room, a few lines of text floated before her eyes. Mikhail, you look troubled. Is it something very important? Tell me, Mikhail. If safety can be guaranteed, next time Alicia wants to go ghost house exploring, I could bring her here. I always feel it has a better atmosphere than Sui Garden. Eno pushed open another door, and a long corridor stretched out before her. At the end lay an incomplete jigsaw puzzle. As she approached, the pieces scattered and flew into rooms on either side. I'm not here to solve puzzles, she muttered. She ignored the glittering pieces and walked straight through the closed door. Another corridor awaited. The only difference was the light grew dimmer. She kept going until she entered a room ringed with televisions. Even better atmosphere than before. If I wait here a bit, these TVs should light up, right? The moment she finished the sentence, all the screens burst into blinding white light. When it faded, the space ahead warped and a creature emerged, a long, thin body covered in rows of eyes, trailing black mist. Is this, like the king's first barrel, a creation of the enigmata? She wondered. The creature opened every eye on its flanks and unleashed a burst of purple light. In that cramped room, Eno had nowhere to hide, though she hadn't intended to. Like when she faced Cocolia at Everwinter Hill, she met the attack head-on. She felt her mind stirred. It's another assault on memory, on perception itself, she thought. But compared to Phantelia, it's weak. Unaffected, she watched the monster rear and stab at her chest with a tail stinger. Ino slapped it aside with her right hand and drove it into the wall. You're a mimetic entity. You come from, huh? The depths of Penacony really do hide wonders. The creature lurched to its feet, then, realizing it was outmatched, began burrowing back into the black mist. Wait, I haven't gotten on board yet, Ino called out. As the entity fled and the surrounding mist thinned, she seized the chance. Just as the creature was swallowed by the darkness, she plunged in after it. Earlier, after Stelly and Firefly finished taking photos at the secret base, the express crew had sent a message. Something felt wrong, and Himeko ordered everyone back to reality for a face-to-face briefing. But when Stell and Firefly reached the Daydream Hotel's entrance in the dream, their vision suddenly went black. When they came to, they found themselves in an empty dream and couldn't contact the rest of the express crew. When Stell stumbled into the television room, the mimetic entity was already gone. Black Swan, who had been investigating other parts of the mimetic entity, arrived at that moment. A fight seems to have taken place here recently, though perhaps fight isn't the right word. I hope Miss Ino has discovered something. Black Swan drew a card and waved it. An opening to the outside appeared. Let's go. What about Firefly? Stelly asked. Don't worry. After I bring you back to reality, I'll go look for that young girl. Stella hurried through the passage and left the strange dream behind. 155. Zhang Liumeng, Reef Ino, walked through the mist for an unknown length of time before she felt solid ground under her feet again. When she came out into an unfamiliar area, the first thing she saw was a giant clocky. Compared with the one in the golden hour, this clocky wore a far stranger expression. As she looked around, she noticed that although the buildings here were different in size and detail from those in the golden hour, the architectural style was unmistakably similar, as if designed by the same hand. Before she could decide where to start exploring, she spotted a familiar face, Misha. Hello, I'm Misha, the bellboy at the hotel. We met before at the Daydream Hotel, Ino replied. Ah, right, I remember. Sorry, I've met so many people I didn't recall immediately. But how did you get here? Reverie shouldn't be open to outsiders. Could it be Memu? Memu is a mimetic entity. It looks fierce, with lots of big eyes, but it's actually very well behaved. Gallagher's always taken care of Memu. So Memu is the name of a mimetic entity. Then that explains it. Wait, Gallagher? Yes, if you want to know more about Memu, ask him. He's the one who handles it. But he's not in Reverie right now. I don't know when he'll be back. Reverie? Ino asked. Is that the name of this place? That's right. This is my home. After work at the beautiful dreamscape, I come back here. Getting around used to be convenient, but since free passage became impossible, Memu's been ferrying people between the two dreamscapes. So the people of the golden hour are freshwater fish, and those who live in Reverie are saltwater fish. Only beings like mimetic entities, which can handle different water conditions, can survive in the estuary. Misha blinked. Well, Reverie does have all kinds of delicious food, but fish may be hard to come by. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. Pretend I was talking to myself. By the way, since this is your first time in Reverie, want a tour? It isn't large or as prosperous as the beautiful dreamscape, but it's very safe. All right? Misha led her to a place that looked like an observation deck. Ahead of them was no theater stage, but a vast void. Look, he said. From here you can see the most spectacular sight in Reverie. Ino peered into the gap. This is an accretion disk formed by condensed memories. No wonder the memories here felt unstable when I first entered. This whole place is made of them. So Miss Ino knows a lot about memories. I was wondering how to explain this place. In that case, everyone here will have a lot in common with Miss Komei. Look, she's right there. Not far off, Komei stood staring at the swirling disk of memories with a fanatical look on her face. Haha, I've finally calculated it. In 12 system hours, the upper dreamscape will devour the lower one. My conjecture is correct. This place will cease to exist. The beautiful dreamscape will consume everything. The memories that make up Reverie are indeed less stable than those outside, but barring an emergency, It shouldn't lead to something that catastrophic, Ino said. Kome heard the doubt and turned around at once. Oh, then tell me how you reached that conclusion. Wait, you, Ino tilted her head. Are you Miss Kome? Why are you here in reverie? Because of a mimetic entity, Kome said. Ah, I supposed as much. Even though Reverie isn't publicly open, it still receives information from outside. My family's been gossiping about a genius coming to Penacony for a while. You mean me? Ino replied. I might be called a genius, but the identity of a Nameless matters too. One reason we came to Penacony was to find information about the senior Nameless, Mikhail, Lazarina, and Tiernan. Kome's expression shifted. She grew excited. Lazarina? Lazarina Gina Stella? You still remember her? Ino asked. Of course, Kome replied. She was an outstanding scholar of memory dynamics, the first to apply memory velocity measurement to interstellar travel. Unfortunately, because of the Garden of Recollection, ordinary people don't care about memory properties anymore. She died in obscurity, leaving only a few thin notebooks. If you want to know more about her and other Nameless, ask Mr. Mikai, Misha added from the side. Miss Kome mentions her often. I've heard Miss Lazarina died during the prison war. Ino wasn't surprised. Records showed that the Penacony Independence War had been a dangerous time, and there was no sign that those Nameless were unusually long-lived. Back to the main question, Kome said, returning to her calculations. Since you doubt my results, provide a credible reason. It's not enough to draw conclusions from visual observation and intuition, Ino said. We need something more convincing. Then prove it, Kome challenged. Aiming to be rigorous, Ino tapped her left foot, leaped, and flew toward the void of memories. Both Misha and Kome gasped at the sight. Don't worry, Ino said as she plunged forward. From the moment I saw it, I wanted to study it up close. She dove straight into the swirling disk. A centripetal force grabbed at her, but she could resist it whenever she wanted. As she moved deeper, a thought formed. The reason this place felt so unstable was that it was unusually pure. She remembered the dream bubble she'd bought at the Dreamscape vending store and the research she'd read. In Penacony, there had been a lot of recycling, robbing Peter to pay Paul, as the reports put it. Both the family and the Garden of Recollection had studied memory as a material that could preserve energy and other properties. The more times a stored memory was used, the stronger it would become in certain respects. They argued that when memories were used to construct something, they would store information about that use. If a portion of memory built a house, even if the house were later demolished, the memories that formed the house would remember they had been a brick. So most of these memories are construction materials for Reverie, and the people here haven't reclaimed them for other uses. Ino mused aloud as she floated amid the condensations. If that's the case, she continued, doesn't it mean the memories here have stronger plasticity, making them better suited to forming memory modules? Undoubtedly, Ino was an expert at creating memory bodies. The process was deceptively simple. Send a fragment of memory into the memory pool, then use erosion to shape the memories until the form matched the originals exactly. For Ino, reproducing outward appearance was effortless. The real difficulty lay in the memory itself, its completeness and purity. To create someone's memory body, she first had to have their memory, and when she added it, there could be neither too much nor too little. Too little, and she would lose awareness of certain traits. Too much, well, it depended on what the excess contained. If it included a time when the subject believed they had been a brick, she could shrug it off as a dream. But if the memory carried pieces of other people's memories, her subject's cognition could be corrupted, and the resulting persona might not know who it should be. The memories in the memory void outside the Reverie were nearly pristine compared to those inside the 12 dreamscapes. They had not been reused across domains and left behind almost no residual echoes, so there was little risk of strange memories contaminating a new memory body and resulting in aberrant life forms. Since memories can store both energy and memory, she thought as she surveyed the void, that means if someone injected sting data and the path energy of the propagation into a memory, couldn't they mass-produce swarm in the dream? Likewise, if one fed the memory of Void Ranger plus the path energy of destruction into the memories, could you craft an antimatter legion in the dream? Theoretically possible, yes. Practically, it's another matter. How much memory combined with how much path energy is required to cultivate the path strider you want? That would take ages of experimentation. For now, it's only a theoretical risk. She flew deeper and found a more worrying fact. The void contained not only reverie memories, but ones from the 12 dreamscapes as well. The farther she went, the greater the proportion from the 12 dreamscapes. Although the reverie's memories still dominated, the presence of those external dreams meant that the other dream regions in the Asdana star system could also be at risk of collapse. The family keeps such a vast dreamscape by relying on harmony, she mused. Harmony stresses unity of purpose. If someone inside the family harbors ulterior motives, well, they would have to be high-ranking. Otherwise, the family could force them back into harmony. That, she reminded herself, was only a hypothesis. The truth would only come once she returned to the 12 dreamscapes, or back to reality. When she emerged from the memory void and landed again in the reverie, Kome practically vibrated with excitement. Ms. Lazarina, I miscalculated. Although the reverie will eventually cease to exist, at least for the next 100 system hours there will be no problem. I apologize. You don't have anything to apologize for, Ino cut in. I'll refine your memory measurement method and produce accurate results, Kome declared, then immediately dived back into her notes and calculations, already lost in the work. Misha smiled wryly. Don't worry, this happens often. Miss Kome isn't a bad person. She just drifts off into other worlds sometimes. Ino had seen that in some of the space station staff. When a researcher finally solved a problem they'd chased for years, they'd leap up and start muttering and gesticulating. Aha! I got it! I figured it out! Compared to those outbursts, Kome's state was healthy. I didn't expect Miss Ino to be so formidable, Misha continued. Since you came to Penacony to look for Ms. Lazarina and the other Nameless, why don't we find Mr. Mikai first? All right. Misha led her to the Time Rift Plaza, where a burly man stood waiting. Miss Ino, hello. As suspected, the Reverie folk couldn't see Misha either. I've been following your movements since you and the others came to Penacony, the man said. If the Reverie hadn't already been separated from the 12 dreamscapes, we would have met properly. Let me introduce myself. I am Mikai, the gravedigger of the Reverie. Gravedigger? Ino echoed. Life here is free. There's little formal organization. Everyone lives their own way. All I do is sweep a few tombstones now and then. Misha shook his head. Mr. Mikai is too modest. Whenever a lost dreamer arrives, he acts as a guardian, sending them to a beautiful dream or teaching them how to survive in this chaotic place. So Mikai was effectively the Reverie's administrator. Although its structure differed from the family, his duties resembled those of a family head, someone like Sunday, the head of the Oak family, for example. You said you're a gravedigger. Are those tombstones for Lazarina and the others? Ino asked. They are, Mikai replied. But calling them graves is a bit grand. They're symbolic cenotaphs. Since you asked, why don't we go see them? Maybe you'll find something useful. They walked to a small plot where 3 stones stood. Lazarina and Tiernan. The Nameless in the middle should be the watchmaker, Mikhail, Mikai said. Yes, Ino confirmed. What can you tell me about them? Mikai hesitated. About Mikhail, I regret I cannot say more. When the time is right, Gallagher will explain everything. Both the legend of the watchmaker himself and his entanglement with the family after the Border Star War. In other words, I can ask you directly about the other 2 Nameless and about anything that isn't tied to the watchmaker, Ino pressed. Mikai smiled. Haha, yes, where would you like to start? Let's start with Lazarina. Chapter 2, The Second Guest. Miss Lazarina Jean Estella was a vibrant, curious scholar. She came from the Zorana Erd star system, a place enlightened by memory studies and ruled by academic oligarchs who specialized in mimetic dynamics. Seeking broader horizons, she arrived at Asdana aboard the Astral Express to research memories. At the end of the War of Independence, to uncover the secrets of the primordial dreamscape, she piloted a shuttle alone and vanished into the mimetic entity. Her family may have long ago forgotten her, but we remember that her research is the theoretical foundation upon which Penacony was built. It is no exaggeration to call her the true founder of the Land of Dreams. So her research back then? The question trailed off. Mikai smiled bitterly. Some of Miss Lazarina's findings were taken by the families and then claimed as their own under the pretense of protecting intellectual property. Ordinary scholars, let alone independent researchers, didn't even have the qualifications to access it. To read it, they had to pay exorbitant patent fees to the families regularly, even though she was already dead when they patented her work. Mistang. Lazarina came to Penacony opposing academic autocracy. How could she possibly have wanted a monopoly on knowledge? And Kome. The families don't want to alienate everyone outright. They know that acting too absolutely would unite opposition. A small concession keeps dissent muted. As long as the crisis isn't severe, the opposition tends to collapse under its own divisions before it becomes a real threat. So some of Miss Lazarina's manuscripts from her lifetime were preserved. But across the reverie, the dreamscape, only Kome can understand most of their content. The foundational knowledge required for mimetic dynamics has been tightly monopolized by the families. Alas, the predecessors who launched the War of Independence to shatter their prison probably never imagined that today's Penacony, beneath a beautiful dream, would become a new prison. The monitored object simply shifted from the company to the families. And Tiernan. Borclean Tiernan supposedly came from the frontier world of Lati. He admired the legendary gunslinger Oak and joined the Astral Express because of her deeds. He was one of the outstanding generals in the War of Independence and the only bearer of the Hunter's Fang Medal, the highest honor, personally awarded by Hanunu. In the decade after the War of Independence, Penacony was beset by internal and external troubles. For Asdana, Tiernan resumed the trailblaze, leading the Firefly family to explore beyond the star system, but they were tragically overwhelmed by the swarm. The Firefly family was wiped out, and he disappeared. Disappeared? Yes. With his skill, he might have survived even an encounter with the swarm. There were rumors a Sea Ranger rescued him, so even after the Firefly family fell, people believed he might still be alive. But even so, he was in grave danger. After the Firefly family vanished, the Sea Rangers launched a major campaign to crusade against the Lord of Destruction, Juluo. Those who knew Tiernan understood that if a Sea Ranger had rescued him, he would certainly have joined them in that war. The Sea Rangers succeeded. I can't imagine the cost they paid to kill a Lord of Destruction. But afterward, they were depleted and inactive for a long time. The last channel that could have brought news of Tiernan went dark forever. That's a heavy story. Indeed. Mikai hesitated and then broke off. Just then, a resident of the reverie approached and, after a glance at Ino, whispered in Mikai's ear. Oh, it seems the dreamscape will be livelier than usual today. Miss Ino, a little girl, was just brought into the dreamscape by a mimetic entity. Shall we go take a look? You might know her. Could Black Swan have found this place too? Ino's peripheral vision flicked to the side. Misha had left Timeslip Plaza at some point. Miss Ino, you? It's nothing. Let's go. They walked into a narrow alley of the dreamscape. The person waiting there was indeed someone Ino recognized, though she hadn't expected it to be her. Mr. Mikai, there are some things. Ah, please, make yourselves at home. Mikai immediately excused himself and walked away. Is this the efficiency of a genius? I didn't expect you to find this place so quickly. This probably has nothing to do with genius. When I first entered the dreamscape, I discovered I could traverse it like a memo keeper. That gave me an advantage. I see, so how much do you know about me? You are Firefly, and also Stellaron Hunter Sam, correct? The silver-haired girl sighed. Elio told me that as soon as we met, you would know my identity at a glance. In Etienne Park, I still clung to a sliver of hope. Can you tell me where I slipped up? Normally, it's rare to connect the seemingly delicate girl Firefly with the tall, powerful mech Sam of the Stellaron Hunters. I'm not a detective who infers everything from subtle cues. I didn't even identify the Iris family's artist at first, until I discovered that the imaginary energy fluctuations within your body matched the pattern of the finality. Firefly let out a relieved smile. All right. With that kind of ability, no disguise would hold. But you aren't a memo keeper, nor do you have abilities like mine. To get here from the 12 dreamscapes, you must have triggered some special condition. Yes, just now, in the land of dreams, I experienced my first death. Then Star. Miss Kome and Miss Black Swan were right by her side. The mimetic entity couldn't harm her. Ino frowned. You mean Star watched you die in front of her? Yes. From the script's hints, I had some suspicions about the Land of Dreams, so I had Silver Wolf guide them to the Dream Hotel and intended to explain the mystery through death to invite them into the game directly. But things went wrong. I couldn't go against the script. Before I could speak, the mimetic entity's wing blade pierced me. A crushing pressure of dense memories exploded in my mind. It felt real. Yet after a moment, the numbness faded and I found my body intact. I had arrived here. 158, Chapter Faded Fairy Miss. You really are an open book. Ino hadn't expected her conversation with Firefly to go so smoothly. She had been ready to force her way into Firefly's mind, but when she asked, Firefly simply told her everything. Why? Ino pressed. Firefly shrugged. Because you're not an enemy, and I can't hide it from you anyway. So what instructions did Elio give you? Only one, Firefly said. Elio told the Astral Express to join the pursuit of the Grand Legacy. In the past, his scripts always focused on a specific Stellaron, but after the star appeared, that rule didn't seem to apply. Maybe he saw the impossible in the future. What will you do next? Return to the hotel in the dream and keep trying until the star can learn the truth. Ino hesitated. Aren't you afraid the star will hate you once she finds out about your deception? Firefly's gaze dimmed. Of course I'm afraid, but from her point of view, what I'm doing can seem reasonable. Since I chose this path, I have to accept her questions and her accusations. What if I go back now and tell her the truth? My script doesn't mention that, Firefly answered. You're free to do so. If she knows early that I'm actually safe, maybe she won't feel so guilty. All right, I need to get ready to leave. Any other questions? One last thing, Ino said. What exactly is your relationship with Sam? Sam is my medical pod, the cradle of my life, the reason I was born into this world. For a long time, it was the image the world expected me to present. She paused. If you want more detail, it will have to wait until we have time. I'll go back with you, Ino said. Someone in the 12 Dreamscapes is worried about me. I should go tell her I'm safe. Firefly nodded. I've observed that ordinary people can only reach the 12 Dreamscapes from Reviri through a mimetic entity. To go from here back to the 12 Dreamscapes, you simply keep walking forward. She explained further. This is probably the original dream. Leaving it is like jumping off a waterfall. Dangerous, but possible. Entering is like swimming against a raging current. Without special tools or techniques, it would be impossible. I understand. Firefly produced her summoning device, called Sam, and together she and Ino set off, flying forward. As they left Reviri and stepped toward the link to the 12 Dreamscapes, new guests began to arrive. But a little earlier, while Ino had gone to investigate the Daydream Hotel, Alicia had stayed behind at the golden hour. Alicia had been fiddling with the arcade machine Ino had left, wearing a rueful expression. Sigh. Research is really Ino's thing. Oh well, I'll do what I can. She slipped into a deserted corner and used the erosion authority Ino had lent her. Her long pink hair darkened to blue, and her blue eyes shifted to red. Alicia stared at her reflection in the glass and smiled. This way, even if Ino discovers something incredible, I'll have an alibi, though an alibi won't help her. Really, I just want to wear this look for a while. No matter what color I am, I look good. Now disguised as the faded fairy miss, she left the corner. Two young men nearby were talking. One held up a notepad proudly. Look, I got Mr. Distral's autograph at Dreamflux Reef. His friend frowned. Distral? Who's that? You don't know him? He's from the corridor system. After joining the family, he became a standout in the Vith Cadenza in just a few years. So what? You know the family's musical scales have 7 cadenza levels, right? Yeah, of course. Mr. Distral is a leader in the Vith Cadenza, just one step away from the top, the Sikith. The companion waved a hand. Brother, are you awake? The scales have 7 levels, but is Seth the lowest? Mr. Sunday, head of the Oak family, is only a 4th cadenza harmonizer. Are you saying Distral's harmony is above Mr. Sunday's? The first boy paused and thought it over. So I got it backward? Vith cadenza people aren't that special. They're not nothing, but Distral becoming a leader in the Vith cadenza within a few years is impressive. There are many in Penacony at that level. Still, your autograph is worth something if he keeps climbing. If he becomes a Veeth in a few years, it'll be different. And if he somehow rises to the Iveeth in our lifetime, you might not have to worry about the next generation. The first boy laughed. Even though we're dreaming, that's a bit much. But thanks, your optimism helps me sleep better. The two left, and Alicia smirked. That really is a twisting, bizarre tale. She waited until they were out of earshot, then moved on to her next target, a pinball machine. Oh, sit in, choose a route, and it spits you out on the rooftop of the building across the way. Sounds like fun. Alicia climbed into the machine and slammed the launch button. Woohoo, flying up! In no time, she landed on the opposite roof. Not bad. Would be nicer if I could hang in the air a little longer. The small rooftop coffee shop was closed for unknown reasons, so she explored the space. I always feel like I'm missing something. She noticed a half-open manhole cover leading down. It seemed like the doorway to another world. Practice makes perfect, she thought, and without hesitation, she lifted the cover and climbed in. 159, Zhang's dream construction site. Through a hatch beneath a manhole cover, Alicia traveled from the golden hour down into the deeper reaches of the dream, to the Dreamflux Reef, the family's construction and renovation site. Just as she was about to look around, a well-dressed man stepped in front of her. Please go back, miss. The area ahead is a major construction site. Entry is forbidden to anyone who isn't on the Dreamweaver team or a project supervisor. Not even if I just watch, Alicia asked. No, unfinished areas are dangerous for anyone who doesn't understand dream building. I suggest you turn back now. We won't make exceptions. Before he could finish, a member of the Hound family approached, looking flustered. Mr. Distrol, actually, a gray-haired girl and a silver-haired girl just slipped through. What? Why didn't you stop them? Distrol demanded. The Hound family guard hurried through his explanation, indignant. I tried to make them leave, like you ordered, but they were relentless, especially the gray-haired one. First, she started talking about this Gallagher fellow, though I don't even know who that is. Then she pulled out some credits. As a principled Hound family guard, I remained unmoved. When gentle persuasion failed, she got rough, pulled out a baseball bat, and said she wanted to spar with me. I don't know why, maybe because she kept pushing, but I just got inexplicably angry and started fighting her. Even though this is a dream, who knows who they are? If I really beat them to the ground, and they turn out to be the children of important people in reality, I can't bear that responsibility. So I held back. After I'd gained the upper hand, I stopped. By the rules of martial arts, stopping there should have meant I'd won. But as soon as I stopped, that gray-haired one suddenly rushed me, a left elbow and then a swing of the bat. I didn't dodge in time. She knocked me down. In a blink, she grabbed that silver-haired girl and ran through. That gray-haired one ambushed a 29-year-old comrade like me. Mr. Distrol, you must uphold justice. I faithfully did my duty as a Hound family guard from start to finish. Mr. Distrol listened, taking deep breaths to keep his temper in check in front of Alicia. By the time the guard had finished the whole story, Distrol's anger had evaporated, and he found himself almost amused. Has anyone ever told you you'd be better suited to audition for Director Rika's comedy troupe than to stand guard at Dreamflux Reef? He said. Alicia's eyes lit up. She casually drew erosion. So if I beat you in a fight, I can go in, right? She sang. Mr. Distrol's face fell. He sighed. If you insist. All right, if you can give me a reason why being in the construction area wouldn't endanger you, physiologically or psychologically, I'll make an exception and let you observe up close. Alicia glanced around and said, I am Eno. Is that reason enough? Distrol instinctively stepped back, then scrutinized her. Are you really the 85th member of the Genius Society, the family's newest permanent VIP, Miss Eno? Alicia leaned forward. Could it be, you can tell I'm not Eno? Distrol waved his hands briskly. No. Since it's you, I'm relieved, Dak. If something does go wrong, it won't be up to a little nobody like me to answer for it. Go on in. Alicia followed him into the construction site and quickly realized Mr. Distrol was not a Dreamweaver, but an Oak family official, sent to supervise and allocate resources. Around them, Dreamweavers studied blueprints, hammered and adjusted structures, and muttered complaints. A pipey West Dreamweaver grumbled to his companion, I don't want to do this. The input and output are totally disproportionate. Be grateful you have work in Penacony, the companion scolded. Stop complaining. I know, by the way, when the Robin family called us here, how was Mr. Ruifanji's mental state? The first kept on. Seeing Distrol hadn't intervened, the two slacked off and continued their chat. Oh, Mr. Ruifanji is a V-scale member of the Robin family, a scholar of dream phenomena, a relatively senior figure. You still don't know? He said he prayed to the family's higher-ups, members above the third scale. Right. I heard the powers at third scale are extraordinary, but nobody in Penacony's family has that. The last time I saw him, he was in a strange mental state. Could it be? According to him, a powerful aeon of finality answered his prayer. At first, no one believed him, but he described her in detail. A white-haired woman in white robes, wearing a celestial ring that precisely covered her eyes. Both Dreamweavers went quiet with a sudden cough. Alicia watched the Dreamweavers at work, reclaiming land from the empty dream sea. After a while, her communicator pinged with messages in the Astral Express family group chat. Himeko, everyone, are you having fun? March 7th. I am, but I keep feeling like something's off. There's an unreal quality I can't place. I met a man with a bandaged head at the auction who did nothing and just left. Suspicious. Welt, I've made some unpleasant discoveries too. It's complicated. We should discuss in person. Same here. It might be time to return to reality. Let's meet in my room. Another voice. Oh dear, this will be hard. I can only maintain this form while in the dream now. Alicia looked into the distance. I should go back. If Ino finds me missing in the golden hour, she smirked. She'll be anxious for a bit and then realize there are plenty of ways to reach me in the dream. Better not to make her worry. She turned to Mr. Distrol. The areas ahead will have to wait for another time. 160. Jang Hunter, do you still dream? After leaving Reverie, Ino and Miss Firefly went their separate ways. They flew in different directions. Ino returned to the golden hour and soon spotted a young woman who looked exactly like her. Oh, Ino, you're back! So many interesting things just happened. Alicia, now back in her pink fairy lady form, hugged Ino tightly. Feeling Alicia's warmth, the tension Ino had been carrying immediately eased. The two exchanged what they'd seen and decided to head into the depths of the memory zone to meet Miss Firefly, who should have encountered Star again by then. When they arrived, they found Sam confronting Acheron. The atmosphere was oddly calm, and Star was nowhere to be seen. Hunter, do you still dream? Do you dream of those who died because of you? Acheron asked. Ino and Alicia exchanged startled looks. I still dream. Stop now. Your time has not yet come, Ino replied. Ino moved closer. So, where's Star? You arrived a step too late, Acheron said. That memo keeper with the veil transferred her to an unknown location. Ino let out a breath. In a world made of memories, I still can't match a true memo keeper when it comes to teleporting someone directly. If Black Swan hadn't tampered with my memories, making me react subconsciously, she probably could have slipped away right under my nose. Perhaps because Alicia was standing beside her, or because she had steeled herself, Ino could face Acheron more directly this time. She looked first at Sam, then at the armored figure. It seems... I don't need to spoil anything. Acheron tilted their head. I forget things often. Instead of remembering, I rely on feeling to grasp things. So, I know who is inside that cold armor, but I don't know what is buried under the beautiful dream. If you are willing to take off your armor and talk, that would be better. It's not the time, Acheron answered. I don't need help, but I can give a suggestion that benefits us both. If your goal is the Watchmaker's legacy, investigate the family. They not only covered up the existence of death, but also buried the past and the truth of the dream. I'm already doing that, Ino said. For more detail, Miss Ino, who reached the beautiful dream before I did, may know more than I do, and the Astral Express is not your enemy. I know that too. I just never expected to hear it from you. Ino hesitated. Are you going to look for Star? Acheron shook their head. There's no need anymore. I tried to defy the script. Look where it left me, standing here confronting you. I have failed. Sam, who had been watching, spoke with unexpected emotion. No, I was born without the ability to dream. I live by cold reality, by a single flicker of light, burning constantly until I turn to ash. Although Sam's voice quivered, Ino suspected the words were not entirely hers, that Miss Firefly was speaking from within. Acheron, however, answered gravely, "Then you are already living in a waking world." Sam turned to leave, but Ino called after her. "Wait, do you have any clues about the sting?" Sam's reaction confirmed what Ino had suspected. Elio had those prophecies sent to Kafka, so as a Stellaron hunter, Sam did know of them. "No, but I'll look into it." She ignited and flew off, quickly disappearing. At that moment, a message popped up in the Astral Express family group chat. Star was safe. Himeko suggested everyone gather at the Clocky statue in the golden hour. "You want us to come with you?" Acheron asked. "I also hope to cooperate with the Astral Express," Acheron replied. "I understand why some might distrust me. Miss Ino, perhaps you and the others should first organize the information you have. After analyzing the situation, decide whether to work with me." Sometime later, they met at the Clocky statue in the golden hour. March 7th looked at Himeko with panic in his eyes. "I never thought that after Miss Firefly's misfortune, even Miss Robin." "Reality may seem calm, but the dreamscape is a turbulent undercurrent," Himeko said. "Now is not the time for despair. We can still act for them. For example, find the killer." "Let's review the situation," Ino said. "Star's words just now reminded me of something. Little March, do you remember what the family representative said when we negotiated with them?" March 7th frowned and thought. He said, "Indeed, we believe the Nameless are not involved in this matter, and we earnestly request your assistance in identifying the deceased." He was obviously referring to Miss Firefly. In hindsight, his expression was evasive. He avoided mentioning another incident that should have happened earlier. Himeko's voice dropped. "The family may be trying to hide Miss Robin's death. If that news gets out, Penacony will truly run red with blood." Or, March 7th added, "the family might know Robin is actually safe, but want to prevent anyone from discovering the Watchmaker's secret." Everyone turned when Ino and Alicia arrived together. "Ino," someone said, "that beautiful girl with you, could she really be your twin sister?" Alicia stepped forward. "Don't you think we're similar?" March 7th blinked. "Well, you both have pink hair. But aside from that, you look like Ino with a different color, right?" Ino explained, "My current appearance is modeled after Alicia. Ever since we met on Broken Star and up to Penacony, Alicia has coexisted with me in the same body. When we fought Fantelia on Xianzhou Luofu, Alicia was the one primarily exerting power." "Two people in one body?" March 7th exclaimed. "Uncle Yang, how can you be so calm?" Welt, who had been watching them, gave a measured reply. "In my homeland, situations like this have occurred many times. Two personalities in one body, another life with the same outward appearance transcribed by a stigma, two beings born from the same while branching in different directions, an existence inheriting memories but not personality because of a divine key. A divine key itself so influenced that its behavior mirrors another's, replicas and clones, mass-produced constructs, even aliens capable of mimicking human appearances. So whatever their exact situation," Welt concluded, "it isn't strange,